Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Hey, what's up guys? How's everybody doing? Hold on, I gotta just fix these. Sorry, have it set up from the weekend here. There we go. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I haven't really done much this week so far. I actually I got stopped out of Riri, and I've as you saw in the title, I've just been reading and kind of doing some research when I can, and basically just back checking and tracking everything, testing things, and it doesn't look like that was a bad choice based on the amount of red I see here. So everything, the whole China play, it looks like it's finally reversing. The internet play here, this is a steep down day. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, still well up. If you hadn't pulled out, you might want to ride it higher. I don't know, but that's the first real bearish move that this upwards movement's had. So I don't know. It's tough to say that makes me think that the movement's going to keep pushing up. But I mean, it kind of erased the most of the gains from last week, but it's still up from the week before. So if you had held a lot of this stuff for even 3 weeks, really, you're still doing pretty good. And last time this happened was way back in November of 2022. So, you know, I guess on a longer term chart, you can just argue it's just noise, but there's some substantial moves here in this noise. But either way, it doesn't really matter. Let's see, what else? Solar was down heavy. A lot of commodities look like they're down. Some of the big movers, Netflix, Nvidia had a good day. Nvidia, I mean, it's just marching up. It did break that. This is the weekly chart, and it did break a moving average, 20-day or 20-week moving average throughout this base move here. But I would argue if it pushes above whatever this is, what is this? It's a real weak. It's not really even a double bottom. I don't know. I guess you could call this a cup, but the high was 140-ish, and today we're at 130-ish, so 133. So it could book. It could break. Well, oh yeah, Netflix. What's Netflix doing? Just at all-time highs, essentially. Very similar, actually. That's probably because it's all the same investors investing in these top 5 companies. Interesting. I pulled MAXN up, not because I've really been following it, but I heard they're doing the reverse split, 100 to 1. So I actually wanted to just do a little research and just kind of see where they are in terms of what that share count will be. Didn't react positively to the news. I mean, the stock price is down to 7 cents, which is pretty wild. I mean, I remember I was looking at it in here, and then it just never did anything, and then it just collapsed, and the stock price is it's just not been able to do anything. So statistics say shares outstanding is 1.42 billion. So it'll be 140 million shares will be left. But it said was it a 1 for 100? Is that what it said? I thought that's, I think Value had posted in Discord talking about it. Yeah, 1 for 100, but that still wouldn't even get him to... Or yes, it would. So that would be $7. So the stock will be $7. Sorry, I can't do math right now. Yeah, so the stock price will be at $7. Okay, so yes, it'll work. And then 140 million shares. So it's ugly. It's still very ugly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know they're working on the facility and stuff, but that's a lot of wealth being wiped out by them doing that. That's why I stopped trying to long play some of those companies that are at the bottom. I'll wait till there's some kind of catalyst that turns them around. I mean, like NVIDIA, for instance, you know, I mean, when you have one of these up days on this, on like a weekly chart here, I mean, you can see how long it can run up for. So if you have like a MAXN or something like that actually turns around and starts to do decent, you'll see it. I don't think BNED will really show it as a chart. I mean, I guess it kind of does right here. So, you know, if you had this first week after everything, when it starts to climb up to like the $8 mark, you could have held that for a little bit, and that's like a 30% return in what was that, like maybe 2 months before it started to break back down. I mean, now it's actually kind of trending right back there. So even if you didn't get out on that, you still would have been up. I will say, when you're doing a lot of this stuff, looking at the weekly charts, it helps a lot. It's gives you a better idea of where everything's are headed. Like a lot of the names that pop and drop right back down, they seem to fail because it's just not enough momentum. The more I look, the more important I see how volume is. Stuff that has real volume really moves, and otherwise the moves are short-lived. Sometimes even within the same day, stuff just doesn't hold up. Actually, I was looking real quick because I was just updating, and even if you look at today's like movers, like a lot of them are really small companies. I mean, this Buru is $2 million market cap. TURB was 17. Weight Watchers had a big move, but still under 100. Paladine, this Biopath, Regional. I mean, some of these are just small healthcare stuff, but a ton of these names are just really tiny. So, I mean, that stuff moves, but will any of this stuff hold up? I don't know. I did pull in some of those names because I'm interested, but I feel like a lot of them, they're not going to do much. What it might do. Wow, look at that. Talk about if you had bought on the breakout. This is why noticing those gap ups is so important. But I mean, a volatile day too. I mean, everywhere, all the way from $4 to $7. I want to see people holding it through that time period. Good luck. Because I mean, this is going to shake everybody out if you're trying to hop in on that. I did pull them in. What is that? 6. So I've looked at it before. It's a Germany-based holding company. Operates as electric commerce platform for the global luxury fashion consumer in addition to its flagship retail store and men's location in Munich. The company's segment includes online operations and retail store. The company operates its business at the connection of luxury, fashion, technology, and services. So the numbers aren't terrible, but they're not great by any means. Revenues are growing pretty quick, though, and share counts remain stable. Positive on a cash flow from operations basis, but still negative in almost everything else. So still tough. And generating, I mean, even EBITDA, barely generating EBITDA. And I'm not sure. I think it went public in 20. What did that chart just show? Yeah, at the end of 2020 it went public. So even the data here, I mean, that's when they first said they were making a profit, but then within a year they're down 39 million. Makes me wonder how accurate those numbers were. And don't keep a ton of cash on hand. They're burning a lot of cash too, so they're gonna someone's gonna have to give here. Whether they keep taking on debt, they paid the debt down a little bit. It was much higher initially. I'm assuming when they went public, they paid this debt off, and since then the proceeds haven't done much. What are margins doing here? See, the margins are ugly. So it's not really even improving anyways. Big day though. Was there news? With a cash position of $555 million and no financial debt in exchange for shares to be issued by MYTE, so representing 33% of fully diluted share capital. See, once again, too, this is, I say it because I just see it now. This is the day it jumped, but for the 3 days leading up, all of a sudden the stock price goes from 360, where it had been trading for 2 months, randomly just starts to creep up to the $4 mark. It's I swear, it's just like it's how you know something's happening. The market gives cues. What does that look like on a weekly chart? Yeah, this weekly chart here. I guess that's the giveaway there. Not that that's going to help you. I mean, just looking at this, besides the fact that it consolidated right there, it's still tough to say. I mean, you could argue this is a cup and handle right here, and this is your breakout, but still, you wouldn't have even had that until sometime in this week. So, I mean, a tough one, I guess, in hindsight, but maybe we'll see how high it can go. I don't know what that's worth. All right, so that's the whole story on that one. Yeah, and otherwise, I mean, some of these names I've seen moving, but not a lot of these. Like, what happened with Weight Watchers today? Weight Watchers had a huge move. And same thing. It's just kind of been creeping up, and then today broke out and got over $1. That's 4. And I mean, these numbers look rough. The market cap's 90 million and their EV is almost 1.5 billion. This is a stupidly healthy amount of debt. I don't know. I don't see how this does anything. Oh, they're talking weight loss drugs? Is that what it is? They're going to start selling Ozempic or something, basically. Compound semaglutide to its expanding the accessibility of popular weight loss medications to its members at a more affordable price. Shares were launched more than 20% higher. Given the ongoing shortages of branded medications such as Ozempic and Wegovy, Weight Watchers is committed to ensuring our members still have access to effective alternatives and the support they need to achieve their healthy outcomes. AKA, we are cashing in on the money that's coming with this whole drug movement. When less than 40% of insurers covering GLP-1 medications, Weight Watchers can now offer a compounded GLP-1, which combines semaglutide, the hormone of the body which controls hunger and stabilizes blood sugar, with vitamins such as B6, providing similar results as Ozempic and Wegovy at a much lower price. A compound pharmacy will mix the formula based on a doctor's prescription. They said we partnered with a trusted FDA-registered 503B facility that meets our high standards for quality and patient care, so our eligible members can feel confident in this new option as a trusted part of their weight loss plan. Well, I mean, that's actually that is kind of bullish for the, just because this whole market with these drugs is just insane. Sorry, I'm just panning through here seeing if there's any of these names. No, but okay. So that's what's going on with Weight Watchers. Now, what? So see, this is the thing too. Like, these numbers don't matter anymore, because at this point, yes, it's really ugly, and how much are they going to be able to turn around without? I don't know. I mean, we gotta. What did I just click? Sorry, I think I'm opening up something. I don't mean to be opening this. Close. All right. Where was I? What was the comments on this? I actually did want to read that. Book value is negative $12. That's kind of what I was looking at. Indian Font says stock was at pre-market and then came down. I think stock should trade above $1. So that person has no idea what they're talking about. Let's see if anyone commented on this. Yeah, I wonder if anyone out there has any idea of how much money could this generate? Because don't get me wrong, having this as a something that you can market as people are going through the whole Weight Watchers experience, I could see why that's profitable, but in the long run, how much does that actually matter? I don't know. What was this doing after hours? Wow, another 37%. Okay, so people are very bullish on the news. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is... Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's $8.15. All right, so $1.59. So now the stock is going to gap up at least to somewhere in here. I mean, that is very bullish. I can see it push all the way up to this $3 mark. Or even, I mean, $2, but you never know. Some of these names can really run. All right. Well, anyway, I mean, that's what's going on with it. I don't think there's really much else to go over with. I still fail to see that how much money that can possibly generate for them. Because, I mean, to get back to profitable numbers, they have to be making over $1 billion in revenues. And they probably have to work on, I imagine these margins have gotten uglier. Yeah, I was just going to say, I bet they have to pay more for everything. And that had been creeping up for a long time. And the other thing I worry about a company like this is this starts to recover based on this kind of news. This is when they can offer more shares and cash in on it. So, you know, this goes up and it gets to $2, and then all of a sudden they offer another, you know, 10 million shares or who knows how many to take advantage of just the price action. And they've always run levered, but the problem is, I mean, you know, in terms of assets, it was under, you know, it wasn't even 2 times, and now it's like almost 2 1/3. So they're very levered. And, I mean, even if we diluted the heck out of them, you know, I get like a dollar. I get like $1.50 is the only way I could possibly see that, and that's with a huge dilution. So I would say, who knows? I mean, who knows? I don't know. But either way, I mean, this is one that could run. I would think that was bullish enough news to make a huge difference here. This one would have been a good one to hop on. Especially if you see that kind of a run up. I'm curious. You know, I don't do a lot of purchasing after hours, but the more I see, a lot of these times, if you start to see one of these names that already have the gap up, and then you were to purchase this in after hours, some here. You know, the next day when it opens somewhere around here, if you were able to get in closer to this price, or you know, even buy at the end of the day or something, but you better be confident in that too, because it could also open up just as much down as it went up in a day. You could get wiped out, because then you can't put the stop loss on. I mean, I guess you could put a stop loss on after hours. Do they allow that? They must. I would think they do. Probably depends on your broker. All right, what else was lasers? Did we? It's been a while. I think it's been a while since I looked at these guys. When was the last time I looked at these guys? $20.23. What did I say then? Too small, no earnings, poor fundamentals, bankruptcy was a risk. Has anything changed? Not in terms of the numbers. They still have cash. Yeah, no debt. So I mean, this is the thing with the balance sheet. You mean a clean balance sheet gives you time. But they are burning cash, and you know, share count slowly creeping up just because they keep burning the money. How much, I mean, how far along is this business actually? Sorry, just closing on some of these names. So just in August is when this finally, there's a little bit of a purchase in April. And now, slowly through August, this thing has been running. Got up to 1880. And then massive short report. They say the stock's worth 0, but what? When they pay stock owners to pump on CNBC. Whatever. All right, what does an actual article say? So what was the actual news that caused this to jump today? Announces move to new 50,000 square foot facility to accommodate growth and innovation. And then what was their update? So I think it is the short report came out, obviously probably blasted them, and then Luther in Orlando. Stay safe, everybody in Florida. Man, that sucks. These hurricanes are nuts. I was just saying, one thing in New York that I don't have to worry about is, I mean, very rarely is any of these natural disasters. I mean, some of these other places you can tell it's the weather's better, but man, I'm glad I don't have to worry about that all the time, or at least once a year or whatever it is. And a security purchase agreement for gross cash proceeds for $3 million. Blah, blah. The report centers on allegations involving an individual affiliated with but not employed by or director of LPC. This individual is not involved in the company's day-to-day operations. Reference has never been convicted of any felony, including the claims made in the report. The report was released post-short positioning, suggesting an intent to manipulate the stock price downwards for personal gain. LPC remains committed to providing shareholders with transparent and timely updates as the company continues to grow across its core business. So this is another one that I mean, the stock price was just, almost $19. You have the short report come out, which just murders the stock. And then now they come out and say, it's all BS, it's them for profit. And then the stock price jumps 80%. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's all narrative, but if they just moved into a 50,000 square foot facility, so they're real and all that, and 68 million is some serious volume. This is another good one to watch. It's another one, really explosive movement. I mean, the stock price in July was at just under $2. And not the first time it's jumped. I mean, if you consider this a cup and handle, it broke out right there. It's actually pretty good. I mean, it doesn't have too high of a side on here, but in terms of this line there, this is a good cup and handle. Same with this day specifically. See it right there. Man, and this stuff was moving on, I mean, decent volume, but nothing like today. 68 million. I mean, that makes me think that, that's like everybody in here that probably had bailed piling back in real quick. All right, let's update here. It didn't have any debt, right? Why did I write bankruptcy on that? Did they have debt at one point? Or was I just worried about them running out of cash? It must have just been worried about them running out of cash. And so they're getting another $3 million. And it sounds like they're just about to really start expanding. So, I guess it's a good narrative. I'll put short report in here. Whatever they denied, that there's a short there. I'll say anywhere from 5 to, I don't know. I mean, it was up at 19, 15. Just doesn't matter. I mean, just making these numbers up, guys. I mean, it's going to bounce around because it's everybody's word versus each other. Laser Photonics recently restated its financials, admitting that none of its last 6 reports can be relied on. The short report also highlights a recent private placement of shares at a value significantly lower than the current market price, suggesting the company is aware of its unsustainable valuation. Did company said that none of its last... So they're saying that none of their reports are reasonable, and that they sold shares, at a steep discount to what the actual share price was. It's tough because they're in a lot of different technology is essentially what they're, you know, in terms of what their stuff can do. So it's not like one business is even going to help you understand this. Just break above the black line, indicate further bullish momentum. If you break above the line, that's what he says. Very bullish. That's sadly that's how it works. All right. Was there much going on in insiders? I didn't really see anything that really stood out. There was a few names I pulled in. Man, Texas Pacific. I should have just got in on this one. It was what I put it as a great company. Look at this stupid stock chart. Back in 21. But actually, I mean, I was more looking at just a shorter one. But I mean, this was just trading at $600. It's almost $1,000. Now, granted, it did jump about $100 in a day. But with that being said, and $100, I mean, when a stock is worth just above 600 and then it still jumps like $100 in a day, that's some serious momentum. And, you know, it climbed higher than that and then pulled back, but it never broke down after that first, you know, jump up. So, I mean, you see some people probably taking gains, but then, you know, everybody else is just slowly still piling in. PBF. There's another one. It had like a little bounce and didn't sustain it. All right, what's going on with these other names? We did that. Well, this one doesn't got anything really coming in. It's a Spain company. Actually, hold on. Is this data right? Is this yearly? It's like yearly / bi-yearly. It doesn't even matter. The data is all not going to be there. What's going on with this company? Anything? Besides, it's up 70% in a day. IPO reports full year results in April. Don't know what that has to do with a 77% move in one day. Issues formal operational updates to shareholders. Was this just momentum? It's up 4% after hours. Yeah, I don't see anything going on with this. I just want to look at, just see if the chart looked good at least. So it popped yesterday. Okay, so I would think it's just momentum then. And it's had these days pop. Like this day, I don't even think would have stood out to me because it's done it back in here. But I will say this first little ride up makes it somewhat interesting. I mean, I'm surprised it had that move today, but it's not really crazy volume comparatively to what it normally does. It doesn't normally have any kind of volume. But the very next day it sold all the way off. So yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't have much to say. There's not really any news. And it's foreign too, so it's tough to catch it. Now the market cap's only 17 million. It looks like there's like 11 million shares too, so it's probably just super volatile. I mean, you got that many shares moving, the price is going to move quick. We already went over MYTE. AAOI. Been in and out of this company before. This has had a huge move since early August. push all the way up to 16. See what the news is on this. Had a 10% day. Oracle had 85 data centers up and running, with 77 more under construction as of its fiscal 2025 first quarter. But Ellison thinks it could operate as many as 2,000 in the long term. Also because their products will be in demand. Don't see cash for production as being a problem. They'll just ask for a major down payment on any order. So, just have to have a lot of working capital, is what Henrik's saying, for the company to. Right, they had entered into supply agreements with core customer Microsoft for next generation lasers and active optical cables last year, but ramp up has been much slower than initially expected by management. However, the company's third quarter revenue outlook was encouraging, that being non-GAAP of EPS of 14 to 20 cents a share, which, what is it historically? Historically negative. So huge turnaround for them. That's why you're seeing. I mean, we're talking, you know, a negative cash flow here to even 15 cents a share is like it's like a $2 move in terms of its earnings per share. Yeah, they're still burning, and you know, he's talking about the, you know, the share count exploding, and they need to raise cash to make sure that they can do all this stuff, but now this gets pricey. It's $16. I know I'd already pulled this chart up, but I just want to look at it again. So, and it had been up to $20 on that past news, and now I think it's probably going to keep creeping up, because now you'll start to see those orders. I'll be curious, when is Q3 for these guys? November 7th to 11th. So it's about a month from now. Market, this resulting in substantial dilution for common equity holders. Following substantial delays, revenues under two supply agreements with key customer market are expected to ramp up in the second half of the year, with second half revenues expected to double from subdued first half levels. Working capital requirements will likely increase quite meaningfully. For my part, I prefer to remain on the sidelines until there's more clarity regarding the company's near-term margin and cash flow trajectory. Well, not everybody else is waiting on the sidelines. Everyone else is just taking the bait. It's a nice looking chart, but you know, I think the same thing. I'll be curious to see what Q3 is, and then kind of take it from there. I mean, too expensive is probably not a bad thing. It does have high debt in terms of all right, turnarounds. This there's a risk of dilution, so I don't know. I'm just going to keep it on deck just so I can follow it, essentially. I'll change it to a 3 because I feel like there's enough wiggle room here. But at the same time, too, I mean, I'm not going to do anything with this until I see, say they're strong around 7, and this could be worth easily up to 20 bucks. All right, where are we at here? It's 8:40. I'll probably just get through these last few names and then call it just. It's been a long day. So I saw Sportsman Warehouse was up. Johnny had recommended that I check this out again. We're coming off $1.80. There's so many names that bounced from these lows. When was the rate? When was the rate? It was in September, but maybe it was down here. That's when everyone started to realize that that rate trend is most likely going to occur. Because a lot of these names that are they're levered, aren't they? Like how badly levered are they? I mean, pretty rough just because they don't really have cash. They're not really generating earnings. Metrics look pretty terrible. They got share count down, but revenues are down. Even, you know, almost 300 million from the high. Book value looks decent. They still have good cash flow, but earnings got smacked. What did they? Why is there such a difference in number there? Where did all this money go? Is this just from they just aren't producing enough with their revenues? This is like such a weird paragraph. Like that, either you use ChatGPT for this, or it's just a something writing it anyways. Yeah, I mean, what the company lowered guidance for the year, expecting sales of about 1.15 billion. Yikes! So that's even. I mean, ugh. So it's going to get worse. Because that number that I have is a trailing 12 months. So if they're saying 1.15, that means it's getting even lower. And we're headed into what I would assume. I mean, I know the winter months depends on what it is, but going into fall, definitely. I mean, that's you know, outdoorsmen. That's the time when everyone's buying stuff. But I mean, this recent pop up here is really just because it's probably saved somewhat from dead, and maybe with the interest rate changes, if they can, I don't know how this debt is structured. Half of it's operating leases. They do have a big amount on their revolving credit line. They have a term loan for only 25. That's not bad. And that's due in 2027. So this is all just, this isn't even really debt. All right, so they pay a substantial amount in operating leases, and they do have a revolving credit facility of 130 million. So, I mean that part's relatively concerning. I didn't see if it said there was a covenant or anything on it to make that a problem. But the 24, I mean that's not going to do till 2027. So they're really, I mean the debt looks worse than it is. Do they have? Okay, they don't have preferred. And this was up after hours, is that right? Or is that, oh, I'm taking the other one. I mean, but not really down, but only up 6% today, which is whatever, it's fine. Paul Stone bought 798% more. I will say in terms of ownership, there is some big moves into the stock for sure. And I know like Burry's been in this name before. I've owned him at times. Never, I don't ever remember being super successful with my timing with him. But this bounce off the bottom here does look decent. I mean, overall downtrend though, so who knows? It's a tough one. What did it say? There's insider? Yeah. Nothing crazy. Who is that that's actually buying? Okay, Paul Stone. That's the one they were talking about. But nothing, I mean, you know, okay, he's had a few buys. When was this? 9-9, 10-2. So all of them are buying down here. At 250-ish, they're all buying. Which is probably where this jumped up here. Interesting. All right, well, I mean, it definitely has some stuff going for it. I'll give it that. The big thing, too, is, like I said, the only thing that really sucks about this is the guidance. They have to be able to increase their amount of sales here, something. All right, last one. Oh, did I not pull this in? Was this CF9? Okay, it does have the. I don't know why this one didn't get pulled in. Did I pull? Maybe I added this one later. Honestly, I forget. I don't know. I don't even know if I did on the stream or just did it right before I started streaming, but. All right, AMREP Corporation, through its subsidiaries, hoarder of land, developer of real estate and home building in New Mexico. Land development segment offers for sale both developed and undeveloped real property to national, regional, and local home builders, commercial, industrial property. Wow, I can't talk right now. Developers and others. Activities conducted or arranged by the company include land and site planning, obtaining government and environmental approvals, installing utilities and storm drains, ensuring the availability of water services, building or improving roads necessary, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of different stuff. Numbers look great. Like just for the past few years, just killing it. Margins are excellent. Insider buys. No debt. Buying shares back. I mean, what? I mean, that's pretty incredible. mean, just talk about a company trying to do everything right. And their assets are perfectly placed to benefit from future rate cuts, says Leland Roach. GAAP EPS of 76 cents, revenue of 19 million. So pretty solid. I mean, don't get me wrong. It definitely trades. You know, it's priced in, but it's also done phenomenal. Let's see what else here. I mean, James Dahl is just buying this up, 10% owner. He's been buying. He's buying all the way up. He doesn't care at all. Wow, look at these guys' purchases. I mean, if that doesn't give you any kind of bullish sentiment here, I don't know what else does. I'll be curious to see if this touches this 20-day moving average, if it bounces off of it. Because, you know, I mean, it's dropped below on MACD, but it hasn't done much, and actually one of the higher days of volume was bullish. People buying back in both days. These have worked their way back up. They failed to break through that 10-day moving average, so it could be at a peak. This is a big run up. I mean, we're talking from $11. Oh, AXR. I was like, where is this thing? Yeah, it probably is, but good fundamentals, comp, insiders, owners. It's one of the rare ones I'll give full credit to. What did actually I get my numbers here? I feel like 35 is pretty well priced in. And then just in terms of a pullback, I mean, not that I see one, but if I did, somewhere in here, like $20, say, for now. Put good management as well. I said watch for a pullback. There was your pullback right here when it dropped back down to $16. That's a problem. Is, you know, I put that in there, but I don't have I need like an alert to remind myself to check that. All right. Well, I didn't see too much else that was too interesting. You know, one last thing I just want is that who owns this and how's that looking? not a lot of movement in shares. Besides James and some people were trimming it, but nothing. Okay, nothing that matters. Owns over 16,000 acres of property just outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Makes for any future growth of the city extremely difficult, and therefore any future expansion of Albuquerque will likely have to take place on land AMRAP owns. So, for 30 years, Rio Rancho has had a school district. Its student enrollment has gone from under 6,000 to over 17,000 students. Today, the city has a population of over 110,000 people, and according to Albuquerque Regional Economic Alliance, Rio Rancho has over 3,000 businesses operating within it. Intel was one of the first large companies to lead the charge on setting up shop in Rio Rancho in the 1980s. Total revenues increased 5.53% year over year, from 48.68 million to 51 million. This included the sale of 2 large commercial buildings that had previously been leased to tenants. Costs and expenses staying relatively stable year over year. The company was able to see the extra revenues translate into a 30% increase in operating income. Fall in earnings year over year actually comes from an extremely large million tax asset the company recorded in 2023 that was added to the company's net income. This tax benefit was primarily due to the income tax benefit related to the company's worthless stock deduction. This came about because of a subsidiary converting into a limited liability company. Then, for income tax purposes, made an election to treat the limited liability company as a disregarded entity. This resulted in a worthless stock deduction, and the company incurred an operating tax loss of $62 million, which yielded an income tax benefit of $13 million for U.S. federal corporate income taxes and an income tax benefit of $3 million for New York State corporate income taxes. We see this tax benefit as more of an accounting policy than it is revenue earned through AXR's normal day-to-day operations, and therefore I wouldn't necessarily consider the company's large year-over-year net income decline to be a cause for concern. So he's just saying that this EPS drop from this, don't get me wrong. He's saying, like, look, it was $1, then it was $3, then it was $4, and now we've dropped right back down to $1.78. But he's saying this is a one-off. Every revenue segment saw year-over-year growth, leading to an 85% increase in the company's total revenues year-over-year from 10 to 19 million. From boosting interest income year over year. Increased their net income by 200%. The company released its Q1 10Q for its fiscal 2025 all the way up to just north of $30 a share. They have a lot of land that they can sell, is what that's saying. Get a total value of about $340 million if we add up all the large land projects under development after assuming an EBIT rate of 27%, which is pretty average EBIT rate for the company since 2019. Subtracting a 26% tax rate, we're left with about $68 million just from land developments the company is actively working on. When dividing this land development property by the million shares, you get about $12 per share, almost 13. AXR has approximately 16,000 acres of undeveloped land in Sandoval County. If to be conservative, we assume all this land gets sold as purely undeveloped land at a low cost, which is $10,000 an acre. We still have $160 million worth of land the company has to work with. Since undeveloped land doesn't require the same type of input costs, I just subtracted 30% from this value to compensate for the sales costs and taxes from land sales. After running through the math, you end up with a $112 million valuation on the remaining 16,000 acres. that put together ends up being about $34 per share value, which is still a 12% increase from the current share price at $30. Do they pay a dividend? No. Okay. James Dahl's buying a shitload of these things. So he's saying because of the fact that they have a moat in terms of the actual land that they own, it would probably be more macro in terms of actually having issues. Rio Rancho is the fastest growing city in New Mexico. It went from a population of 104 in 2020 to 110. These population increases are above growth rate averages of some of the fastest growing states in the country like Florida and Texas. Joe Biden recently announced that through the bipartisan congressional 2022 CHIPS and Science Act, there'll be more funding, will be made available to Intel in 4 states, including in New Mexico in this area. And like he said, he still thinks it's got room to run. Yeah, I mean, it's tight, but we'll see. I mean, it's good to know what's kind of going on with them, but all right, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys, just because I don't have anything else really to go over right now. But I guess, you know, in hindsight, like I said, the portfolio, it's like the first time I've had it like this. It's just empty. So, like I said, I took a loss on re-raise, so I'm down a little bit for the week, which puts me right around 15% right now. I thought today when I looked at the markets, it looked green, but it must be... Maybe it's just NVIDIA. Is it literally the greenness that I saw was NVIDIA and Netflix pushing it higher? Because where was Yahoo? Didn't it say... Oh, now it's showing me the futures. But for instance, what was yesterday? Yeah, had a decent little climb up after. Because Monday was really more of a pullback. So we'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully, I'll keep an eye on the charts tomorrow morning before work, and if anything pops up that looks interesting, take some positions again tomorrow. Not trying to rush into anything, but we'll see. Like I said, if anything looks good, possibly take a position. Weight Watchers, like I wouldn't be surprised if that pushes higher. Some of these names could push higher. So we'll check up on those. I believe Johnny will be on Thursday, his normal time. We'll verify that on Discord. And other than that, I hope everyone has a good night. If anyone was able to tune in, thank you so much. Always appreciate everything that you guys are doing. And good luck with all your investing. Remember, none of this is financial advice, just for entertainment / education. I hope someone finds this somewhat educational. But other than that, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.